Now, as King Charles officially begins his duties after mourning the death of the Queen, many issues should be at the forefront of his agenda. So is it time he stops focusing on the melodrama being caused by his wayward son, Prince Harry, and diva wife Meghan, and worrying about the country instead? Well, a bombshell exclusive in the Daily Telegraph today has revealed he intends on continuing a futile bid to please the Montecito exiles. A source told the newspaper it remains the case that the King loves both of his children. Over the past 16 days or so, there were tremendous flickers of hope in terms of the future. There is hope of a cause for unity. I'm sorry, but in my view, that's delusional, especially as Harry continues to plan to release his tell-all autobiography, pouring a bucket of mud over both Charles and his wife, the new Queen. So with Britain facing multiple crises and soaring inflation, is the King's fixation on mending his relationships with the Sussexes a distraction, and should he be focusing on his official duties as the new King instead? Let me know your thoughts by emailing me at dan@gbnews.uk or tweet me at GBNews. You can vote in our poll while you're there too. The results shortly, but to help you make up your mind on this, I'm joined by the royal commentator and biographer, former biographer actually, of Prince Harry himself, Angela Levin, the author Anna May Mangan, and the editor for About Time magazine, Angelica Mallon. So, Angela Levin, look, I know Prince Charles thinks he's doing the right thing here, OK, because he thinks, I love my son, and surely my son is going to show me that love. But isn't he just being very naive, Angela, given that Harry still intends to press ahead with this autobiography, which is, by all accounts, going to slag off his wife, Camilla?
Well, I think that no one has the right to tell a father how he feels about his son or daughter, for that matter. It's really up to them. But I think there is a big difference for someone who is like a king or anybody in those sort of areas, that you have to split your personal life from your professional life. And he wants to be a good father and he wants to be a good king. And I don't think that those two go very well at the moment, because Harry is very obstinate. Neither he nor Meghan with compromise. And I think it's going to be very, very difficult. And we might have them both back, which I think will be an absolute disaster. It will be extremely unpopular. And they would have to make an agreement that they would stop sniping at everything, stop thinking just about themselves, and actually be prepared to be number 5 in the hierarchy. And I can't see them doing that. I can't see Meghan understanding what it is to devote your life to the sacrifice that you make when you join the royal family. I think she's never got it. Anybody who'd got it wouldn't, when they were in Australia and shaking hands with everybody, saying, you know, I can't believe they're not paying me for this. I mean, it was an absolutely amazing thing that she's alleged to have said. And you can't really work as within the monarchy is if that's what you feel, that it's about you earning money rather than you dedicating your life to looking after the country and the Commonwealth.
No, I think that's a very good point, actually. Of course, that was one of those shocking revelations from the new book by Valentine Low, Courtiers, wasn't it? Anna May Mangan, I'm sorry, I think Charles needs to grow a pair. I'm going to be completely honest here. And he needs to say, you're going to lose your titles. I mean, rather than constantly trying to appease these two, I actually think he needs to cut them loose, Anna May.
Yeah, so he's 73 and he's taken on what Diana called the top job, and he needs support now and he needs people around him. They've resigned. Harry and Meghan have resigned. Not only have they resigned, but they're a pair of whingers, and they're going to sabotage his attempts, which are going to be hard enough, to follow the Queen in her duty, her hard work. They have to go. I mean, if they're not working royals. They've said they don't want to be working royals. They need to be moved to one side. There's nothing to stop Charles being a great dad, but I don't think the public will tolerate the royalty funding this pair now after all the vitriol they've spewed. And I think Charles is an incredibly patient and indulgent man towards them, because had it been one of my kids, and I adore my children, I would have cut all ties 5 minutes after the Oprah Winfrey interview. They're not young. People keep calling them this young couple. They're approaching their 40s now. And in that interview with Oprah, they were talking about how they've been cut off financially. The daddy has turned off the money taps. I mean, it's just cringeworthy. And now we want to wheel them back into positions of state. Of course not. He's got to concentrate on the brand, Charles, and do the job to the best of his ability and silence, move away and disassociate himself from anyone who's trying to bring him or this country down.
Yeah, for the good of this country. Angelica Mellon, how can you keep defending these two after all of their shocking behaviour?
I mean, firstly, I don't think this is about just, reconciliation to the point of them being working royals again. I don't think they want to be working royals. I think it's important to remember, though, that the monarchy on a global scale, if we're looking at how they're perceived internationally, it's important that they look unified and working. There was so much damage done by this fallout on an international scale, and I think Charles coming into his reign and starting it off on a high note, trying to reconcile, is a good thing.
But why should he? When they keep slagging him off.
He's a father. Why should he not want to?
Well, I would argue that actually he needs to focus on the country. Sorry, Anna May, you come in.
Sorry. I was saying have them over for Christmas lunch. Spend a couple of weekends with them. Just don't have them. They don't want to be working royals. And I think he should take their titles and then love them. Love them as his son and his daughter-in-law and their grandchildren. And they've queered their pitch already. They've said what they want.
But they're not interested.
But they want a bit of everything, don't they? They want the cream of being a royal, where they can go to all the great events and smile and be on the front page of the newspaper. Yet they also want to use their royal titles, which they cling on to as if they're falling off a rock. They want to earn money out of that. And they promised the Queen that they wouldn't do that. The late Queen, she said that, go with my blessing, but you cannot use your royal title for commercial gain. And they've done that.
And Angela Levin, just last week, Katie Nicholl, who's released her new book, The New Royals, and she was here on the show, revealed that actually when Charles and Camilla made an attempt at reconciliation recently, it was before the last visit, before the most recent visit when the Queen sadly died, or the late Queen died, they turned up late to their meeting with Charles and Camilla, so they only had 15 minutes with them, and during that time they suggested a mediator would have to be called in order to put their relationship straight. I mean, to me, that doesn't seem like two people, Angela, who have any genuine desire to sort this problem out.
I don't think they have a genuine desire for it. I just think they're behaving like spoilt teenagers, really. Petulant teenagers, and actually they're, as one of the people here said, they're in 40. Well, Harry's 38 and Meghan's 41. I mean,
they ain't young.
Stumping about.
They ain't young.
And making a lot of nasty comments. And the fact that they could have said the awful things they did with their appalling timing when Prince Philip was very, very ill, and then the Queen was very ill, to add all that pain on her, they don't understand anymore. Harry did. He used to be terrific when I was interviewing him for his biography. But all the worst of him has come out, and I think it's a great shame.
Angelica Mellon, how do you reconcile the fact that when Prince Philip was on his deathbed, they were slagging off the royal family and the institution on Oprah Winfrey, and when the Queen was on her deathbed, Meghan was doing it in the pages of this uber-woke magazine, The Cut?
So I think, firstly, your language, things like slagging off, I'm not sure that's the kind of words I would use here. What I would say was they were talking about some of the challenges faced. So things like the racism from the British public, which was a very real thing.
Sorry, how was it real?
Challenges of the job.
So what examples do you have, Angelica?
Talking about one's mental health. Harry has done great things for talking openly about his mental health. And I think this is a generational shift in that young people like Harry and Meghan for talking about those things so publicly. So where you might find that offensive, lots of young people see him.
Well, no, what I find offensive, Angelica, are lies. And Angelica, there's just one thing I want to pick you up on. You say as an irrefutable fact that Harry and Meghan suffered a lot of racism from the British public. Where's your evidence of that? Because what I saw when they got married was the entire country shut down, came together to celebrate a beautiful union. So where is all of this racism, Angelica? Seriously?
There's a lot of evidence of death threats sent her way. Look at any of the videos and interviews with Prince Harry.
You spoke about racism.
And what they suffered. Sorry?
You spoke about racism.
Racism towards Meghan Markle, yeah.
Mm.
I think a lot of people don't like her. I think people don't like her.
That Oprah Winfrey.
She was sent thousands of death threats. If you saw how the British media treated Meghan Markle, anything that Meghan Markle did was picked up on, pulled apart in the way that things that when Kate Middleton did.
Angelica, that is rubbish. I worked in the British media during that whole period. We celebrated the union. They were all on the front page celebrating. The whole country stopped. I mean, this is just a trope, and it is an untrue trope, Anna May Mangan, that Harry and Meghan suffered racism. Of course, there are a small number of racist people in this country, just like there are racists everywhere, and those people should be condemned. But this idea, Anna May Mangan, that they were subjected to some sort of racist campaign by either the British public or the British press, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it out for what it is. It is a lie. It didn't happen.
All I can tell you is that had I been blindfolded and never seen either of them ever at any time and listened to the Oprah Winfrey interview, I would have really been very concerned about the two of them then. What colour or race or culture, nothing came into it. I thought the way that he sold his family down the river and she joined in was beyond shocking. It proved they were untrustworthy. I thought they were monetarising their grievances, and that's a very dangerous place to be, because where do they stop? How much more are they going to tell while their dad is saying, I love them, I want to reconcile with them? I think he should if he can reconcile with them, but behind closed doors, and those two need to be kept out of the public eye as royals. Let them sell their talents, whatever they are. They're not very evident at the moment, but let them sell their talents to Hollywood. That's fine. Make a good living. I wish them well, but stop trashing the royal family.
Yeah. No, good point. Angela, just a final word to you, because I just wanted you to pick up, Angela, on these claims that Harry and Meghan were apparently subjected to racism from the British public or the British press. Did you see any of that, Angela?
No, I haven't. I mean, it's not racist. People haven't liked her. They haven't liked her, how rude she is. They haven't liked the lies she told. There are at least 17 lies in the interview with Oprah. And I think that it's done this as sort of a victim side of both of them nowadays, where they cry out that everything's so awful and people are treating them so badly and we're all nasty and hate people who aren't of mixed race. None of that is true, actually. I was there talking about the wedding, and I mean, there were thousands of people there who were absolutely thrilled, as you said, but she's actually been very, very unpleasant to everyone here within the monarchy. And I think that she's misplacing being against her colour or lack of, compared to how rude she is, what she says with her mouth or her speak.
Indeed. That was royal commentator and biographer Angela Levin, the author Anna May Mangan, and the editor for About Time magazine, Angelica Mallon. Thank you also. Who do you agree with? Should King Charles focus on the country instead of the Sussexes? That's our question tonight. Sean on Twitter says, now Charles has taken the reins, he should carry on where his late mother left off, not worrying about Harry and his woke wife. From Bry, Harry and Meghan are an utter embarrassment for this country. Get rid and forget them. And from Chasey on email, King Charles needs to concentrate on the country. Olive branches have been extended to Harry, and he has shown he is not prepared to give an inch. If Charles starts pandering to Harry, he will lose my respect and support. And your verdict is now in. 85% of you agree that Charles should focus on the country rather than the Sussexes, while 15% of you say he can focus on both.